That is one big pile of shit.
No, Jeff, this is one big pile of shit. $80 million worth.
Let's go.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Poprageous. I'm Danny Alex. I've thought hard about how to convey my feelings on Madam Web in a way that really hits home on this movie. I did a breakdown on the Madam Web trailer when it was released on November 15th, 5 days after the Marvels movie was released, and I had some poignant opinions about how bad the trailer was and what to expect from the actual movie when it hits theaters. But I was wrong. I was totally wrong. This movie is multiple times worse, and finding the right words to pay homage to this $80 million train wreck disaster garbage movie isn't going to be easy because it's just that bad. Imagine the worst CW superhero movie ever made that, instead of hitting TV screens, went straight to theaters. But I'm not sure if that even comes close to capturing how bad Madam Web really is. I first wanted to rack my brain to think of anything that was good about this movie. Something, anything that stands out so I could at least give one positive point. The only thing I could think of was that, well, at least it wasn't over 2 hours long. It was only 1 hour and 57 minutes. Thank God. Right from the beginning, the very first scene, Madam Web displays how bad the dialogue, acting, script, plot, CGI, special effects, production, costumes, cinematography, lighting, and sets are going to be for the next 2 hours. It wastes no time in establishing the amateur B-level production and acting quality of this movie. I would even bet that if you asked the crew how the catering was, they'd probably tell you even the food sucked.
That is one big pile of shit.
Very true, Jeff. Very true. Madam Web is a bad B movie that somehow managed to convince a major studio to invest $80 million into it. At the very least, I'm sure they were able to use top-of-the-line movie cameras such as ARRI or REDs for filming. But it is shocking how bad $80 million can look on the big screen. One of the absolute worst things about Madam Web is the dialogue. This movie should be shown to film and creative writing students as an example of what amateur entry-level writing looks like. An example of how not to write a screenplay. Riddled throughout the movie are phrases such as "I don't know" and "I'm not sure" that comprises much of the dialogue and responses between characters. Even first-year creative writing students learn that these are the kinds of phrases you should never use when developing dialogue for a screenplay. Questions and answers have to have meaning and result in meaningful conflicting points of view between characters to fire up the stakes in tension and move the story along while providing exposition and world building. The dialogue is so bad and on the nose that it's mind-blowing that Sony Pictures, along with the managers and agents of the actors and the actors themselves, could read this script and not see how bad this screenplay is and what was going to be the end result of producing it. Madam Web is a clear example at how the majority of people who now work in modern-day Hollywood have very little to no understanding of what makes a great story and how to capture it visually for developing a movie. This is a big reason why there are so few good movies being made that actually turn a profit and engage audiences with well-structured stories that intrigue and entertain the viewers. It wasn't until after production wrapped up that Dakota Johnson realized the mountain of garbage this movie production was and promptly changed agents because of it. Now, I don't want to be a total Debbie Downer and criticize everyone in this movie, but it's hard not to. Dakota Johnson's performance was nothing to be proud of. This was a terrible movie choice, and any of the performances by the actors in Madam Web could be worthy of a Razzie Award. There wasn't one performance that was in any way worth being addressed to as being adequate or okay. It was basically all one big
pile of shit.
Character motivations were an afterthought when writing and filming this movie. A great example are when the three teenagers finally meet Cassie. It's forced, unearned, unnatural, and unbelievable in every way. The dialogue between the four of them throughout the movie is simply atrocious. There is a scene where they first meet and end up in a yellow cab Madam Web stole, and right after another one where they're all in the woods hiding. These two scenes are brilliant at depicting how the dialogue is literally some of the worst that has ever come from any Hollywood movie or screenplay. I'm not using any hyperbole when I describe these scenes this way. Okay, now we have to talk about the super spider villain, Ezekiel Sims, who is a disgrace to any and all supervillains in any movie or TV show ever made. This is a supervillain with apparently super Spider-Man powers who can't even catch 3 teenagers in a New York subway. They literally get into the stolen yellow cab and drive away. I guess it's that easy to get away from this super Spidey villain. Cassie, Madame Webb, literally drives this stolen yellow cab for the rest of the movie until she changes rides near the end and steals a paramedic ambulance. The yellow cab she stole literally has its cab number, 28X5, right on the roof and painted on the side doors. But yet no one notices as she drives this stolen cab through New Jersey and New York. She even returns to the scene of the crime where she drove the yellow cab into a diner to save the 3 teenagers, who decided that doing some tabletop dancing in the middle of a diner in front of some high school boys was a great idea. I mean, where do they come up with these garbage movie ideas? These are the same writers that did Morbius, and not even Morbius was this bad, which was still a pretty bad movie. Madame Web is bar none the worst Marvel or DCEU movie ever made. As hard as it is to say, The Marvels is a better movie than Madame Web, and that movie was a complete stink bomb train wreck disaster of a movie in itself. It feels as if the exact words I want to use do not exist to really pay tribute to how this movie is really a one big
pile of shit.
I think Mr. Goldblum has this thing nailed. One of my biggest pet peeves in movies is when sets actually come across looking like movie sets. At least half the scenes in Madame Web feel staged. They feel acted out and lack any natural human chemistry that great set design, scripts, and actors are supposed to deliver. Watching it, you know it's a movie set. A movie has to make you feel as if there's a secret hidden camera in the real world life of the character. And this is what usually separates an A movie from a B. The feeling that the world the movie creates is a real, living and breathing environment that was captured by a hidden camera. That brings me to the special effects, and they were as bad as any you've seen in any movie. The word special has no right to be even included alongside effects for this movie. The entire production felt like a poorly acted and directed high school play that came across looking like what it was, a low-budget movie set. Hopefully I'm getting across how bad Madame Web really is. I mean, how else can I say it that it's basically
one big pile of shit?
It's true. Madame Web is basically one big pile of shit, and I can leave it at that and feel satisfied that Jeff Goldblum and I have come as close as can be possible to giving an accurate review of this train wreck disaster of a movie. This is bar none one of the worst movies of the year, and it'll be hard for any studio to match this garbage amateur B-level studio production. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm giving Madame Web a 2.5. And that's all I have to say about this.
One big pile of shit.
Thank you, Mr. Goldblum, and I will see you in our next video.